Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Asha. Thank you for being here. And I want to say a big thank you for joining me this year. Here we are towards the end of 2025, and this has been another wonderful year of ups and downs, learning lessons on all levels. I don't know about you, but it has been one of those doozies for me. You know, we have these different years that happen. We have these quiet years that kind of seems like nothing's happening. And then we have these crazy years, these wild years. And I kind of feel like we've been having a lot more of those lately than not, but also on a personal level, not just globally, but also on a personal level. And I wanted to check in with you before we ended this year. Wanted to thank you so much for joining me this year for all of the events and content and things that we've been putting out there to reach out to our community. I wanted to see how you are feeling. You know, before we start jumping into setting goals and getting ready for the newness of the new year, I always think it's a good idea to take a moment to reflect upon the year. Reflect upon how it was for you for the last 12 months. What did you learn? What did it reveal to you that you were kind of surprised about? Um, Maybe you got the opportunity to travel more. Maybe you got the opportunity to start a new job, maybe new relationships. Maybe you lost people. Maybe, you yourself were not doing well. Maybe there were things that you learned about your own health and your own resilience. What did this year really reveal to you? Take some moments, take some time. And I want you to take a moment also to think about what is it that you want to leave behind with this year? Are there bad habits? Is there a certain mindset? Are there certain ways that you are ready to let go of, certain burdens, certain heaviness that you may be carrying on your shoulder that you're ready to just lay down and leave it in this year? I know I've had an incredibly transformational year this year where I have been forced to learn how to let go, first forced to actually listen even more, which was really interesting to me because I've always considered myself an active listener. I try my best to listen to what people are saying and try to figure out and process and try to come up with solutions and figure out exactly what needs to happen or can happen and give suggestions. But I found myself having to listen on a different level this year. And that was more about listening to my own intuition, listening to when my body was telling me that I was really pushing myself too much and when it was tired. And it also taught me this year with that listening is to where my boundaries were, setting better boundaries, not only with other people, but also with myself, not pushing myself past those boundaries and bringing myself out of balance. So there was a lot of learning this year. There was a lot of learning with grief this year for myself and for in personal and also in professional grief of not only losing people, of course, but grief of losing opportunities or losing a certain identity that I had been identifying with for many years that I just decided to let go of. And you may have dealt with that as well. You may have had some of that this year. And I want you to take a moment now to, as we're wrapping up this year, to look at that. It's a really good idea to reflect. In our society, we are so busy and we constantly keep going and we're always going from one thing to the next and one thing to the next. And we're ready. Most of us are already, we already have our goals set out and everything, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. But I also want you to take a moment before you turn the page into the new chapter, into the new year. What are the things that you're wanting to leave behind? And if this year was not your year and it was just a really big struggle, it's okay. Just know, just like the ocean, we have the waves that come and they come in and they crash down. And then we have the high tide and we have the low tide. It's just the ebb and flow that happens in our life that when we can get used to riding that wave and being able to go with the flow a lot easier and accepting things as they come along, as difficult as some of them may be. I understand. I mean, we're human beings. We have human emotions. We deal with things, whether it's loss of people, loss of health, loss of job, loss of relationships, whatever it may be. We have the ability to be resilient. When we work on our mindset and we work on our well-being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It will help keep us strong and keep us resilient in those tumultuous times. I definitely hope that you take the moment to reflect and look upon what has worked for you, what has not worked for you, what you're excited about for the new year. And I want to wish you a great transition as we go into 2026 and wishing you all the best. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you, and till next time.